It's Friday, and that means it's time for Zach's wacky world of weird news. Tales from Florida, Canada, and beyond. Just when taking the bus in England couldn't get any weirder, they're offering no trousers to brides. Isn't the tube already always exposed on the bus? By the way, be careful Googling no trousers tube. That is really hard to say, by the way. This is an annual event and will take place despite plunging temperatures. Oof, man. Launched in January 2002 with just 7 people in New York, it has spread across the world with dozens of people taking part in this year's event in London. Creator Charlie Todd told the BBC, "The whole point is just to create unexpected moments of joy, delight, and confusion. It's not to be provocative or to irritate someone, so hopefully the spirit of that continues." Just imagine that's how he sounds. Gives a whole new meaning to spotted dick. The Toronto Sun reports an Australian Instagram influencer surprised his fiancée with a bikini featuring his face on it. Vitola approached his fiancée and revealed the swimsuit featuring his face, bam, full frontal. He said it was also to deter unwanted attention toward his fiancée. If that reasoning was correct, my face on my girl's bikini, yeah, that'll do it. I don't know, I feel like this is something, sorry Christian, but I feel like this is something you would do.
Nah, man, I'm not that crazy. Dudes are crazy these days, bro. I'm more crazier than, yeah.
I don't care what you look like, don't put your face on a bikini. It's not gonna look good.
That's hilarious, though.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
What's up next?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's a party. California, known for its wine country, is living up to its name. The Daily Mail reports that 97,000 gallons of red wine spilt from a storage tank at a vineyard. It then leaked into the Russian River. Surprised it wasn't vodka.
Still expensive.
I'd cry.
The Cabernet Sauvignon, or Tyler,
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Still wrong.
spilled from a vineyard storage tank into the river. People started acting suspicious when they saw the animals acting like Britney Spears. You know what time it is? It's time for...
Florida man, Florida man, does whatever a Florida man can. Look out, here comes the Florida man.
Stealing, cursing, even taking longer than usual breaks. Those are just some of the things that can get you fired. But what about farting? That's right, you heard me. The Tampa Bay Times reports a man known as Paul Flart, who was working as a security guard in Polk County. However, one day he got so bored, he just let him rip. Flart started recording fart videos at work and then posting them on the internet. He was fired for excessive cell phone use. If farting can make you famous, I'm gonna stop holding it in while we're on the air.
Zach, how many fart stories do you have?
Too many to count.
Not gonna lie, I thought he said Paul Blart for a second.
It's a spin on Paul Blart.
Okay.
Okay.
That's like his evil twin.
Well,
Yeah,
Zach,
exactly.
what's up next?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of finger licking good? Well, how about toe sucking tasty?
Nope.
According to WSOC TV, a Florida man did just that. The incident occurred Christmas Eve at a home in Bradenton, Florida. The resident said he awoke to find the intruder at his feet, and the suspect declared that he had entered the home to suck toes.
Oh my god.
I guess it is safe to say Santa was not too thrilled about the milk and cookies.
Not at all.
What is going on in Florida? What is happening?
Florida needs help, and they also need to sleep with their socks on.
There's something in the water, and for once, it's not a gator.
This guy broke in to suck toes.
I'd
That's the
kick him.
report.
I'm sure he'd like that.
Albert, would you ever consider making a motorized vehicle out of a mop bucket?
You know what? Apparently the wind did it to a porta potty, so I guess so.
Well, that is exactly what a Florida man did, according to TheDrive.com. Brian Edward Cars of Clearwater, Florida, for God's sakes, not Clearwater, tossed the water out of a rolling mop bucket, whipped out a leaf blower, and went for a wild ride using an umbrella as a sail. He calls it the blue collar limousine, according to ABC News, and it rules. Forget about flying cars, a motorized mop bucket. Now that's the future.
Okay, but who casually just has a leaf blower and an umbrella to whip out?
I don't know. Apparently people from Florida.
Apparently.
It's normally Florida man, but today it's Florida men. According to the Washington Post, a traffic stop went from routine to criminal. 2 Florida men were arrested in the Florida Panhandle after a deputy found a bag of drugs, in which, you guessed it, a bag of drugs, which it was labeled. The 2 Florida men faced numerous drug charges. What was going through their minds? Where are we gonna hide the drugs? How about in that bag that says bag full of drugs? They don't belong in prison, they belong in Washington.
Gotta stay organized.
It's reverse psychology. If you see a bag that says big old bag of drugs, are you gonna think someone's actually gonna put drugs in their big old bag of drugs?
I'm still checking that bag.
That would be my thought process. I'd be like, all right, listen, we're not gonna
I'd be like,
this one.
no one's that dumb.
And that's why you would be caught.
Some Florida guys, though, I swear.
If you want crack, don't label it.
Oh my God.
You don't want to confuse it with the flower.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's
Then label
true.
the flour.
Then you put in a bag full of flour. From 247headline.com, 24-year-old John Curtis Spicer was caught on camera stealing condoms and lubricant from a local Walmart.
These stories are right up Mike's alley. I'm telling you, you have touched.
Everybody did such a great job. These
This is
stories,
it.
I'm tuned
Story,
in.
continue.
This story came out of Port Charlotte. The suspect then made a big mistake of leaving his cell phone. I'm sure you haven't done that, Mike, but
No, never leave your cell phone. That's evidence, especially if there's Vaseline on it.
when he was choosing the items, I suppose with all those items, he should have had a fun and lonely night. However, without the phone, you better have some backup entertainment. Maybe a nice DVD or something.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe do Netflix and chill by yourself, maybe. Yeah.
Alrighty, finally, okay, this one definitely takes the cake. From the Toronto Sun, a man in New Jersey with a hankering for furry creatures is behind bars after he was accused of threatening farmers who had denied him from making the moves on their barnyard animals. He then sent threatening letters to those farmers who denied him the animals. Well, you know what they say, there ain't no lovin' like livestock lovin'.
There's the line of the day. Hashtag that.
Alrighty, heading to the Great White North for the stories that'll make you say,
Oh, Canada.
Toronto plunged into pure darkness. And who is to blame? A raccoon. A raccoon, who I'm going to call Gunther, was able to cut power to nearly 7,000 people in the city's downtown core last Thursday, highlighting the fraught coexistence between residents of Canada's largest urban center. And the outage started at about 7:40 p.m. but was fully resolved 3 hours later, according to outage maps. It is unclear what happened to the raccoon, and I doubt it'll be granted a candlelit sidewalk vigil. The city's unsanctioned process of mourning deceased critters. This story out of Canada's prime jewel province of Saskatchewan. According to the CBC, a moose was found hanging around swimming in a Regina lake. Spectators gathered to watch the moose take a dip. You may laugh, but considering this happened in July, not a bad idea, I'm just saying. The last time I let my moose get out, I got arrested.
Yeah, that's it's good advice for the kids listening. Never let your moose out.
Oh dear, that's what many LaSalle residents were saying when video surfaced of a deer breaking into the pool at the Volmer complex. I love when it's local. The incident occurred last Sunday, and video showed the deer running through the window and taking a dive into the pool. It only took about 10 to 15 minutes before the deer was ushered out to safety. That deer just cost the town a few bucks. That's the first edition of Zach's Wacky World of Weird News. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back next week with even more weirdness.